All right, we're here for an emergency movie podcast talking about the movie Obsession, which we've heard all the hype about over the past few months, but I finished it this morning. You finished it this weekend. We got a lot to talk about.
Leave it to us to have an emergency podcast to a movie that came out a few months ago. But it's something that got so much steam. I know it was on my radar earlier in the year. I just couldn't get to it. It came down to, for our podcast, it was between The Mandalorian and Grogu or this movie. And I did it for the pod for The Mandalorian and Grogu.
In hindsight, we probably should have done this one.
Yeah. But just the phenomenon that this movie became, which I look forward to talking to you about it, because it is a big freaking deal. It really is.
Huge movie for 2026. It's a horror movie. Right, the director's name is Curry Barker, sorry. And he's 25 years old, YouTuber, if I understand correctly, made this movie for under $1 million, and it has grossed over $400 million, which is freaking insane. It makes me want to make a movie with you. Like, why haven't we made a movie yet?
It's insane. People cannot fathom that is the highest grossing movie of like all time. Like, from a profit to what it was made, it's unbelievable what this movie has made. Percentage of, $750,000 to over $400 million. One of the two, Indy Navarrete, the actress in this movie was made 2 years ago. So it was just like sitting on the shelf. It was sold to Focus for $15 million, which was great. But she had no money. She wasn't making any money from this movie. Had to do like live streaming her playing like Call of Duty or whatever in order to like make any kind of income.
That actually makes sense now that you say that, because I saw something about Kevin Durant trying to play Call of Duty or something with her, and this is the first I've heard of this.
She's a huge gamer, or whatever, but she was making like no money off of this film. And then it came out and it absolutely blew up and threw her into superstardom, and the director, and is an awesome story because you see what this guy, YouTube director, and he was going head to head with a Star Wars film and absolutely demolished it. And that is just incredible to see.
So I knew that it wasn't made for a lot of money, and I knew it made a ton of money. When I was watching the movie, I never thought like, oh wow, this is like a budget film. Like, it was just a normal movie that I would watch. I mean, maybe one part we should talk about that I thought, okay, that's not the best like special effects or whatever, but like $100 million to make 400, good for them. And I think it deserves all the acclaim that it's getting. I really, really enjoyed the movie.
It was one of the few things where the hype was like, it absolutely lived up to it. And then one other statistic, I don't know if you've heard this, but it's the first movie since E.T. to be able that like end up growing in profit. Like
3 weeks in a row.
3 weeks in a row, which again just shows the word of mouth and social media trend from this film.
Did you watch the new Rockstar's video on YouTube by any chance that kind of broke down the movie? Because I did hear that ET stat on there. It's probably all over the place.
It is. I've seen it all over the place, but I don't know if I watched that one.
It's the one with Eric Voss. I don't know if you know Eric Voss, but
yeah,
it was a great breakdown. Anyways, I was all in on it, and I feel like I'm ready to chat about this movie. So very much enjoyed it. So how do you want to do this, dude? Do you want to share any other thoughts, or do you want me to just jump into our awards?
No, I think the biggest thing is what you said, just kind of setting up the awards, is I really think this movie lived up to the hype. And this movie had a lot of hype. So that's a lot to say. It's a movie I watched with Heather. She loved it. It crossed over because she hates horror movies and doesn't like it, but she was enthralled by the movie. And it just shows that you have this simple concept and just executed very well, and it just is magic without happening.
So I will say that I came into this movie not really knowing the whole story. You can kind of deduce some things from the title of the movie, but everything about how it was executed, the four friends, some of the details that we get to was all news to me, and I thought it was great.
All right, let's dive in.
So we're doing this with not very much prep, because I texted you this morning, said I finished, and you're like, I would love to pod about it. And we're like, okay, how about this afternoon? So we're just kind of piecing together our categories, what we normally do, have a bunch of different categories named after funny movie things that we love throughout our life, throw out a bunch of nominees, and then settle on a winner for each of us. So the first category is Hill Valley Clock Tower Award for the best scene. What do you got?
I mean, I have so many scenes.
Yeah,
I have so many scenes here, kind of going in chronological order, and I'll go with my favorite thing, but starting with the scene where Bear, when he makes the wish, and
on my list,
Nikki's transformation that happens immediately is so charismatic. You just cannot look away from how she did it. You know, she goes from regular Nikki to obsessed Nikki, or Freaky Nikki. However, people are kind of seeing it a few different ways. But that instant transformation, you can tell she's a completely different person. And when that first wish happens, there was a glimpse of old Nikki. Like, if you remember,
And throughout that first
it
night
happened like
together.
5 or 6 times
Yeah. Yeah.
throughout the movie. But that going back and forth between like real Nikki, like wondering what the hell is going on, to then obsessed Nikki, I thought set the tone. And from that point on, I could not look away in that movie.
So Bear's the worst, right?
If you want to get into this now,
Well, it's just
Bear could be one of the worst worst actor. I think did a really good job. But as far as a character, like that guy was god awful.
I feel like it's going to be hard for that actor to peel this character away from him, to be honest with you. He was so bad, like such a pussy. And there's a couple decisions that he made throughout. But the first one was in that scene where she turned around and she's like, "Do you like me?" And it's like, dude, if you would have just said how you felt in that moment, none of this would have happened. And then he ends up doing the wish and stuff. It's like every bad thing that happens in this movie is because of this dude.
He has so many irredeemable qualities.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to dive into it more. So I don't know how much you want me to go off on Bear right now, because there are other things that he
We can
did.
save it.
Save it, but such a pussy. From the bar scene to this, she gave him the open door and he couldn't do it. He's a coward. And I felt so terrible for her. And I just absolute hatred this guy. The worst.
The absolute worst. There's one part in particular for me that really bothered me. I guess we'll get this is one of them though, for sure, for him, because like the door was open and he just couldn't do it, and then did all the things that he did afterwards. So,
and real quick, good design on like the One Wish Willow. Like a really simple concept where when you take it out of the box, it does this like little chime thing. So you know, like it's out of the box. And so whenever you hear that chime, you know something's going on, which will pay off later. And then just a simple snap. And then a wish happens immediately. Just a really cool concept. Obviously, which has been done in other, I think it was like a Twilight Zone thing, like the monkey paw thing and that sort of thing. So
what was the thing on the TV earlier? Something where, was it Aladdin? Were they watching Aladdin or something about like the genie in the background?
Yes.
Like
Aladdin,
like receipts for all that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, great design on that. Great name for it. Like great little store that they went in there to buy it, and you know the woman that was working the desk over there. Like they hit a home run with that. All right, I'm gonna go next. One of the scenes that I really liked was when Nikki forced her way to go to the guys' night party at Ian's. Truly insane behavior by her, but obviously she was under the wish, but like getting herself over there, but then like just the way she acted over there was just the worst. And it's hard for me to say like that's my favorite versus others, because that's how she was throughout the movie, like up and down, very erratic, like psycho obsessed girlfriend. And she was super weird. She had that monologue that she had at one point where she had to do something like awkward or something, and so she read that weird thing from a book that she had been writing, and then
absolutely, it was like a version of Hansel and Gretel.
Yeah,
exactly. Like sexual and ancestral. Wait, well, I bring it up later too, so I don't want to talk too much about.
Yeah, I kind of had a feeling where else it could go, but like that whole, she very well acted to the point that Bear also went next and had to kiss the person to his left, which was Sarah, and then you're just like, oh my god, what's going to happen? And the way that it actually ultimately played out was kind of like way different than I could have even imagined, where, okay, what's going to happen? All of a sudden she pulls Sarah out backwards, so fucking awkward, and like puckers up in the weirdest way before like smashing a bottle off her face. It was just like a crazy scene.
Well, a couple of things there. That leads into one of the most famous like images of the movie is that her frown. When she's frowning or whatever, when she does that, it's an incredible like visual acting from that. But then when she has that minute where Nikki comes through for 7 or 10 seconds or whatever, where she falls over, she realizes where she was, she said, it's not me, smashes I took it as she smashed the bottle, old Nikki smashed the bottle to try to kill herself or hurt herself, because you can see then the transformation as the blood's coming down, old Nikki goes away, new Nikki obsessed Nikki comes back, and that's where she does that like famous like smile thing with the blood dripping down her face.
I'm glad you mentioned this, because this movie is very fresh to me and I had not seen that, but I love that as a thing, because it's clear throughout the movie that regular Nikki is in there someplace and is experiencing this and is obviously out of control. The idea of that being a glimpse of her and trying to kill herself, that makes that much more sense.
And I heard something too along the way somewhere or something that she's not possessed. She's not a demon. There's not a demon in her. It's not exorcist kind of thing. Is the wish just made a version of herself that became an obsessed girlfriend. And the way that we're 11 minutes in, we're talking details about this, but the way Bear made the wish, you know what I mean? Was I
Aggressive.
wish that
It was,
Nikki
yeah,
fucking or like loved me more than anyone in the fucking world or
yeah,
whatever.
it was very aggressive.
An aggressive way to make the wish, and maybe that had something to do with how she was aggressive, like being obsessive. But the actress, Indy that played her said we're not playing her as if she was possessed or a demon.
Yeah,
It was just playing a different version of her, which was
I've
really
heard that same thing.
okay.
Yeah, and I honestly wouldn't, if I had to describe the way she was, like, I wouldn't say she was like possessed. It was just like, it was like the wish had taken over her.
Yeah.
But
But the dinner scene and just watching, what would you do if you were a guest, if you were one of the friends of the party? It was so uncomfortable.
I'd get the hell out of there right away. It's so uncomfortable. I mean, I don't know what Bear's supposed to do at that point, but I'd probably just bail on even going altogether.
He looked so defeated in that moment. He wasn't even concerned about Nikki or anything. He just was sunk in his chair and was just like,
He was like that a lot.
he's the
Like,
worst. Absolute worst. Anyway,
what else you got?
I mean, the first night that they were together, the first night when she came over, the way they lit her in this movie, constantly like black where you just can't see
From
her.
behind, you can't really see her. Yeah.
And when I don't know what he's doing or whatever, like at his house, which again, great trope that he lived in his old grandmother's house because it looked like an old house and there was a lot of old elements to it and stuff. But when he answered the door, and this was the first like obsessed Nikki, and she spent the night here, and while like they were starting to like hook up, old Nikki came back for a second and was like, "What the fuck? What's going on?" and like fell off the bed.
Yeah.
And Bear was so scared. The thing with Bear is he knew something wasn't right, and he just kept going over and over.
Yeah, I mean, he tried to reverse the wish, but like, yeah, pretty early on.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. Reverse is an interesting word to say.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
But yeah, no, I thought all that was great.
Yeah. So, that.
I have something else.
Yeah, oh, yeah, I got a million things, so go ahead.
This isn't a quick scene, but the time that Bear was sneaking out of the room to go see
Sarah.
and Sandy's a cat.
Sandy's
Sorry.
the cat.
Yeah, I might have said Sandy earlier too. My bad. Brain's still working on all this. See the fucking cat, dude. When he was sneaking out to go see Sarah and sleeping Nikki, like the real Nikki came back. Like that was freaking heartbreaking, dude. The real Sandy was talking because the wish Sandy was like sleeping. And I don't know the logistics of how that works, but she's basically like, she's sleeping right now. Kill me. You have to kill me. And it was just like I just felt so freaking bad for her. And then freaking asshole Bear is like, would it be so bad to love me or something like that? It's like, dude, what? That's what you say right now? Does he make any sense?
Was like, this guy lost me. When
Like,
things happened after that, but like, when he's like, I'm like, dude, this girl is like, he's literally holding her hostage.
yes.
You know what I mean?
That was the worst moment for him. Like, yeah, and he continued on. But like, in that moment, you were like, dude,
what's so wrong with being with me? Like, he is not listening to her, does not care how she feels. He is being so selfish. And it's not, I mean, that's not even the right word because, like, it's so awful what he is doing.
Yeah. It honestly doesn't even make any sense, to be honest with you, because he knows things are fucked up at that point, and he's obviously having second thoughts about the whole wish altogether. It's like, even despite all that, you still say that in that moment?
The thing is, he's obsessed with her. Like, in a different way, but he's obsessed with her. Like, he is so obsessed with her to the point where he's doing, a dry run with a random waitress at the beginning of the movie, saying how he feels about her. When he's alone at bed, he's stalking her Instagram, pictures that he's already liked, just like going through, you know what I mean? Like everything he does. And he even says at the beginning, every song he listens to, every thought he has revolves around her. So he's obsessed with her. I mean, it's a fucked up way.
Honestly, that's like, that. I think that's how you really apply the title of this. It's like, sure, she's obsessed with him because of the wish, but like ultimately it's his obsession that kind of leads to the whole thing.
And no remorse.
Yeah.
Like he does, or lack of remorse, So
I thought that scene was like, a lot of stuff is like horror stuff and like some violent things, but like that scene, I was like, man, I just feel freaking like crap for this girl.
I know. Awful. Absolutely terrible. Terrible. Me, just a quick little scene, the rom-com montage.
Yeah, that was on my list too. That was fun. Like, kind of like a different. You were watching a different movie for a second. You're like, oh, this ain't so bad. Yeah,
It's like they look normal and happy and like all that kind of stuff, which is, I thought just really good. So you can kind of breeze through that. But I thought that was like a funny little like montage scene of the two of them being happy together, which is so messed up.
I'm actually ready for my winner part. I don't know if you have more honorable mentions
I have
or you
like
want
3 more quick
like
ones.
6 more? Okay, fire
Yeah,
away.
3 more. I mean, it's probably gonna be your one of your winners. The montage scene kind of went into the dinner scene, which I think one of the most famous scenes, like, for marketing of this movie, where they're having dinner and he gets the call from Ian, which we can get to too, because we haven't talked about Ian much yet. And that Ian did his research and called her dad because she said that, he had cancer, all that kind of stuff. And then he approaches her about it, and she makes a scene at the dinner restaurant with the, famous no,
Yeah.
no, 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 no
I was
line.
saving that for like my little speech dialogue kind of thing.
Yeah.
But, like, I think that's like a very, very the way she would repeat no like that.
And it like really incredible, like incredible stuff there. The call to One Wish Willow, I thought that was really interesting. And is that your winner?
No, it's not. I thought it was too. Because I think at one point he's like, you implied that he could, the way the conversation was going, you made it seem like he had like an option or a way to figure this out. But like ultimately, there's nothing he could do outside of
Except
dying. You know?
except die or take responsibility and like take care of her or whatever.
Yeah. The rest of the way. Yeah.
But the two things that happened on that call, the thing that I think is so irredeemable for Bear is he didn't want to cancel the wish. He wanted to alter the wish, which is so fucked up of him to do. He wanted her to stay obsessed with him, but basically tone it down a little bit.
Not be
which
crazy,
is
crazy obsessed.
after everything that happened, that was what he wanted to do, which was just crazy to me. And then we don't know the science behind it or why, but some reason on that phone call, who that guy was in the other line, Nikki was there, and they could hear Nikki yelling, real Nikki yelling through the phone. And that was chilling.
Yeah.
With that. And again, Bear still did nothing about it. 2 more real quickly, we can dive in. The ending isn't my winner, but the ending is you have to talk about it.
I'll be interested to see what your winner is, but like I love the ending. Like I thought the ending
is that your winner?
Yeah, that would be my winner. But I feel like I'm kind of like an ending guy when you have something that kind of like ties it up a little bit. I just thought it was great. You know what I mean? Like I thought everything about it. So I guess let's talk about it. But like he had enough, and he's gonna freaking kill himself, and he does obviously ultimately kill himself until you hear that chime, and Nikki made the wish like awesome because they've been laying the tracks for the sound of the wish, and the fact that he had the extra one wish Willow kind of laying around. Of course, she finds. Of course, her wishes to, I assume, make Bear love me like the exact same wish he had about her, but to him, So after he already took the pills, you hear the chime. He gets up. You can tell he's a different person. They go see each other, and like for that moment, they're like equal. They have like equal love for each other before his mouth starts like foaming up. He dies. She snaps out of it. And then that's the movie. And it's like, dude, it's like, wow, what a great ending that was.
There are so many things to unpack in that ending. Starting with a couple things. One, why did he buy 2 more One Wish Willows? So he gave one to Ian.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And he was asking Ian to basically cancel out. That was kind of like cancel out his wish.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Ian didn't believe him.
Yeah.
And ended up wishing $1 billion.
Yeah. I mean, I actually did like that scene too. And I was thinking about mentioning it.
Yeah. But was Bear then going to use the One Wish Willow again or do something else?
I don't know if he just wanted options
to get her back with him.
Ooh,
you know what I mean? So like, what was his intentions there? Okay. That was crazy. So then, and I didn't quite realize this is more in the research, but then you go back to the house and Nikki is wearing Sarah's dress, who she just killed. She's got fake tattoos on her, like Sarah did, Sarah's tattoos, and then was wearing like not her hair. And they're saying that was like Sarah's like hair.
Yeah, which is nuts. And I did not see that. I did not think any of that in first watch. I caught that in the new Rockstars video I was talking about.
So then when he goes into the bathroom, there was no way in hell Bear would have the balls to shoot himself. Didn't. You know what I mean? I thought that was really true to his character. was really, really, really true to that. And then the ending was awesome. But what's so heartbreaking is Nikki wakes up, her 3 best friends are dead. She killed 2 of them. She's gonna go to jail. There's no out of it for her. How do you talk yourself out of that one?
I saw one video where it's like they probably got footage of her stealing the gun from the place, leaving the place where they work with the gun. There's no
Yeah.
way that he gets out of this. The explanation as to what happened, she doesn't, I don't even know how much she could fully even describe it, but yeah, she's not in good shape. I did hear that Curry Barker said something about the next movie he makes, he'll address what happens to Nikki in the first like couple minutes of it in like a background TV shot or background like radio thing or something like that.
Right.
It sounds like he's building a little bit of a connected universe. So that would be kind of cool to see, but like you can't walk away from that movie other thinking anything other than like she's fucked.
Yeah. Yep. Incredible ending with the shot of the cat, you know what I mean, into the TV screen. So my winner, because I thought it was the scariest part of, and probably my favorite, the one part that really got like me goosebumps is the one where he's sleeping and he wakes up and she's not in the bed and she's in the corner, but you can't see her
In the shadow. Yeah.
in the
Maybe
shadow.
like very faintly, like see there's something there, but yeah.
You see her like after a minute or so, but the way she's yelling and like, why don't you love me? And like crying, it's so unsettling. And then she runs out of the room and then comes back with the flower pot in front of her face, like perfectly placed. I thought that scene was just so well constructed and just really well done. So I wanted to make sure I mentioned that one too.
Love it. What were your thoughts on the killing Sarah scene in the car? Sarah and
Well, yeah, I got some thoughts on that coming up.
we can save it. I can move on
Yeah,
to the
let's
next category if you would like.
Yeah.
Okay. So next one, Bill Pullman Speech Award. So best speech or monologue.
Yeah.
A couple things that come to mind were the Hansel and Gretel story at the party, like just as far as like a memorable monologue. I don't really have a winner, but that's like one thing that I'd bring up. So I figured I'd just put that on the table real quick.
That one's in mine. You could say Bear's monologue at the beginning, but
Yeah.
screw that guy.
Yeah.
He's the worst. So I'm making him in there. The Hansel and Gretel, not only the way she delivered it with the accents, different voices, like incredible, but also like the tone of it, like how it was like they were brother and sister, but like incest stuff. And then earlier in the movie, Sarah told Bear that Nikki looks at him like a little brother. I thought how all that was connected was just really interesting. And the way she delivered it was so awesome.
Love. Only other thing I had would be like that line, the no, 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 no part at dinner.
Right.
I just saw this in the past like 24 hours. So it's possible that I'm forgetting something very, very good, but I'm hoping you're going to bail me out on it. Oh,
I
okay.
think
Yeah.
what the movie will be remembered for is that no, 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 no. Like that scene in the diner is very like went viral and really like people. I remember that was like the one clip they released from the movie like before it came out, and that I think caught everyone's attention. Like, who is this girl? This is incredible, and yeah. So I think that was mine too. I don't have anything else.
All right, then we'll move it on. Jar Jar Binks award for the worst character. And you got to remember, this movie doesn't have that many different characters.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, I feel like this is fairly straightforward, but why don't you go ahead?
I have no one. I have nothing for this one. I really like thought long and hard about it. I'm like, there's literally 4 characters in it. All of them are pivotal. I wouldn't get rid of Bear as the worst, but you can't
Yeah, like
toss
in my mind, he's the worst because he sucks, and I hate him as like a person. But like,
Yep.
you would never get rid of him. Like
Yeah,
they all
and then you
they
got-
all serve a great spot in the movie.
And you got Andy Richter's character, who just is. Did you know there was Andy Richter?
No, I had no freaking clue.
You know,
Is
you
that
know
his
Andy
dad?
Richter? That was the dad, the owner of the music shop. That's Andy Richter, which is just
Freaking-
so random.
That's where they spent friggin'
Yeah,
$250,000 of their $1 million budget. you know?
exactly.
It's like
Well,
Ben
that
Affleck
villain-
and Matt Damon getting Robin Williams for Good Will Hunting. It's them getting Andy Richter
Yeah.
for this.
It's very similar situations. But like, what scene? Do you have a scene or subplot that you would get rid of? It's such a tight movie that there's nothing I would go.
No, I don't. And I don't think. Yeah, I don't have anything else that I would add to this one.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
why, as far as like the next award being the Rocky and Russia Award, fight on
Yes.
Christmas Day. What do you got for that?
I have a couple. All
Okay.
right. One, after the party scene. Okay. Bear brings Nikki to the hospital and gets turned away. Why? Why does he get turned away at the hospital? Do you know? Did I miss something?
I hadn't thought about that. Maybe in the moment I thought it was strange, but yeah, weird.
Like the nurse is talking to them or whatever at the hospital, outside the hospital, and they just don't go. So just was curious about that. What do you got?
How do you think? I mean, there's a logical answer to this, but in the moment, I was like, well, how did Nikki find Sarah and Bear?
That's a lot list.
You got like a friggin' homing missile, like right on the side of the window. My thought is that like this seems to be a spot that Sarah goes to,
Yeah.
and Bear obviously. I think when he first got in the car, he's like, "Oh, you're still hanging out at whatever spot," like it's like a known thing. So maybe Nikki would know to go there, but at the same time, it seems like a little bit of a stretch. I was a little bit surprised. She's pretty good to find them over there.
Okay, so that was what I had too for my winner, and kind
Yeah.
of connected to that. It's like a dumb decision. Why did Bear go see Sarah? Like him getting and like sneaking out was never like gonna. It was never gonna work. Like she was gonna wake up and go absolutely insane. So a terrible decision on like a laundry list of his bad decisions that he made. Why would he do this?
He knows better. He knows.
And and also, like the context of their meeting was what? So they could open an acceptance letter for college together at 2:45 in the morning?
Totally. And
I
Sarah
thought
can
it was gonna be
reveal her true feelings about of hers towards him, and yeah, I mean, problematic, but not the best, well thought out plan.
yeah, you know what I mean? So a terrible plan.
It's not
And
like Bear didn't know what Nikki was capable of. I mean, dude, they had already had the scene where she duct taped the door. She stood in the same spot for freaking like 10 hours while he was gone. I don't know why he would possibly think that he would be able to get out of there without there being a problem.
can we talk about that smile, that scene?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
incredible. So good. With like the pan down to her peeing on the floor to then her not moving and throwing up over herself and like just absolute like looking terrible when he got back. Just incredible idea.
And I guess you could have assumed that that was what's going to happen with the weight, because like when he left, they stayed on her for 5 seconds, felt like a long
Yeah.
time, maybe 10 seconds, and she wasn't moving. And so to think that like she stayed in that spot for the rest of the day until he got back is freaking bonkers.
So that was kind of my thing. It's like I didn't feel like the reward was worth the risk of like information that he got from Sarah. You know what I mean?
Totally. Can we talk about something else about that scene?
Please.
That was the one scene that I thought the special effects were weak.
Okay.
When Nikki was smashing her head against the brick on the steering wheel, like that so clearly was like just like a rag doll, in my opinion. But outside of that, I thought the movie was great. I just figured I'd
Yeah.
point that out.
No, totally. It was the most violent part of the movie, obviously, with a brick. You know what I mean? So not only against like had a brick and like was putting her head against the brick on the steering wheel as the horn was beeping.
And afterwards, you see her face is like nothing. And you see an eyeball. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, all mush. And then, and then you could get a little bit like, they'd bring her to the music store and then back to the house and like a lot. But like she even says, which is again like really interesting. So like, what does obsessed Nikki do? But like, what does she do? Like right after she kills Sarah, like goes to Bear, like is like, this is all your fault. This is what you wanted. You wanted, you know what I mean? And that was really interesting kind of twist on things. So
before we move on to the other category, did it seem like law enforcement was missing in this whole thing? I know you talk about the hospital not letting him in. There was just one time I was like, man, they're just doing a lot of shit right now for no one really noticing, and they're just kind of doing it in their own little world.
but I think it all happened fairly fast from when she kills Sarah till the end of the movie. It's probably just a matter of a few hours. So what were your thoughts on Ian and his whole situation?
It was interesting to hear that Ian and Nikki had been hooking up, and that maybe kind of changes the way you view things a little bit. I don't have any like crazy good or bad thoughts. It just seems like a dude, and his motivations were a little bit different than they first maybe present themselves as when you see him in the movie. But
Well, yeah, because the opening, he's talking him out of it. He's talking Bear like out of it.
Sense in the moment and like trying not to get him to say anything. He's just a dude. Obviously like would have liked to see him maybe listen to Bear a little bit more, but at the same time, Bear's the worst. So it's like, why would you listen to that guy?
All right, cool.
Next award, Han Solo Award. Be interested to see how these next few awards go. Han Solo Award, scene stealing character. Who stole every scene they were in?
There's only one. I mean, it's Nikki. I mean, she's 100%.
I do think she will be something moving forward in her career. You know what I mean? Like, she's obviously beautiful, was very charismatic in that movie. Like, I thought she stole the movie, and I'll be interested to see what she does next. Does she have things lined up at this point, or is
I
that
mean, there's
still?
talk about her, joining something in the MCU. I would like her not to do that, but maybe she wants a payday. Good for her if that's the case. But I hope she is a little selective because she's really good.
She was
And I
awesome.
mean, she's incredible in this movie. Like people have said, it's like Heath Ledger and the Joker kind of performance, where just
It's
so
not that
captivating.
ridiculous. I mean, she was really, really good. I'm backing it up, but it was a really good performance.
But yeah, but there's not even a second. You know what I mean? I not even a second place. Nikki is 100% this winner.
All right, love this one. Adonis Creed Award, character most deserving of a spinoff.
I only got one.
I think it's the same. So before we get to that, that would be my winner too. Sandy. I'd love to learn more about Sandy, obviously.
How did the cat open the pill bottle? It's a really good question. And how did that
But
cat keep showing up?
they did a great job laying tracks with that. Like just with the Sandy dying because of the pills, kind of came back around at the end of the movie. And it's obviously a joke. There's nothing to know more about Sandy. Like, I don't need a spinoff for Sarah. I don't need a spinoff for Ian. Not that we're getting spinoffs or prequels or whatever. You know what I mean? But like, they were fine. There really is only one thing that I'd like to know more about, and I think it's probably the same thing that
Yeah,
you're
well,
thinking.
I'm torn. It's kind of like the One Wish Willow people. Like I kind of
The shop owner or like the guy on the phone? The girl or the guy? Because I
the
thought she was.
guy.
I
I
thought she
thought the
was.
guy was way more interesting than the girl. I thought the girl was just like no returns or you can't come back and complain or whatever. The guy was like actually gave some like lore. You know what I mean? Like I already made my wish. You only can make one wish, and it was like funny. Like we don't have those over there anymore. And then they're like right next to the cash register. Thought that was a good little head fake. I don't know if I want to know about the guy on the phone. Is that who your winner is?
No, my winner is just the One Wish Willow scenario. Not
Yes,
even like you know what I
exactly.
mean. So it's like I mean, it's probably a little bit more general than where you're at, but like I want to know more about that. Do a spinoff on the One Wish Willow. Except, do I really want that? Not really.
Yeah.
But if there was one thing I would say, it would be that, I guess.
Do I want to know what's behind the curtain? Do I want to know how the One Wish Willow works? What happens? Where do the people go if you make that wish? All that kind of stuff. But it is just interesting how there is this thing that works, It just works. And it's an interesting concept, and I'm fascinated by it.
I liked how they had the message board online, and like 50% of the people said it worked, and the other 50% said it was a scam. It was very split on that. I think it was like Register or something like that.
It was fake.
I hope I don't need more of these characters, but I would be interested in that. Like, if they did have a universe and there was something, I would like to know a little bit about what happened to Nikki, but not a whole movie about it, just a line or something. So if that's what they did, that's as far as a spin-off as I would want.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. I know we're going quick, but we've spent a lot of time on the other things here. Jack Burton MVP Award. Most valuable character in the movie is the same thing as the Han Solo Award, which I honestly don't know that that's happened since we've been doing this, where the Jack Burton Award and the Han Solo Award ends up being the same person. Usually we can find like different people to
Well,
give those awards.
it's not just the characters or actors in the movie. You know what I mean, right? Right? The MVP of the movie.
Are you going the director?
No, so I have two people, and director I have is the runner-up. Curry Barker is the runner-up for me.
Yeah.
As far as
Not
like,
a bad runner-up situation.
You know what I mean? This guy, an absolute no-name 26-year-old director who made YouTube videos, made the highest grossing movie of all time, and studios are going to be throwing
Not the highest gross, the most profitable, probably.
most profitable movie of all time.
Which is it? I mean, I'm still like would like to see what that list looks like, but I mean, essentially, he made $399 million in profit. Has there really been a movie that hasn't made that amount?
I think maybe you're right. I think it might be the most profitable movie made for under $1 million of all time.
Yeah,
which I think Blair Witch Project was the other one.
Was it? Okay.
But also, like, I guess, like, just like based off of percentages, like if you made this movie for this much, like the percent of profit is like that's tough to beat.
Yeah, that one you have like a 4,000% return on the cost to make this movie. So
studios are going to be throwing money at this guy to do the next thing, So I have him as my runner-up.
Okay. So
and there's a clear winner. I don't know if you have a runner-up.
Yeah, like the actress that plays Nikki.
Yeah,
I never know how to go on this category for doing characters or the actors, but like to me, the MVP is, I guess, the actress that played Nikki in terms of like the birthing of a new star out of nowhere.
I always look at it as who won the movie. You know what I mean? Who is going to be the person that is like going to get the most out of this? And Nikki, and I think that actress specifically Indy Navarrete or whatever is
How
going
do you say
to.
your name?
Is it Indy Navarrete?
Yeah, that's
I
great.
believe.
I've been avoiding saying it because I'm nervous to mess
You're
it
just
up,
too
but
scared.
in
Just
Indy
too
never
nervous.
I'm kinda like Bear in that moment.
Yeah, you're right. It's a very Bear thing for you to do. But it's, I mean, yeah, she's a star now. You only get 5 nominations, but it is potential that she could get Oscar nominated for this, which would be mind blowing. Emily Blunt, this is such a memorable, out of nowhere performance that I think she's going to get nominated. Definitely a Golden Globe. And we'll see if she can make it to the 5.
Is Obsession gonna be nominated for an Oscar as a movie with 10?
10 movies?
A lot of
They
movies.
don't ever do horror movies for
No,
all
just 10
horror.
movies is so many movies, and we haven't even got to award season yet, but
But I don't know how she does not get nominated. So
Shawshank Award. Is this movie gonna matter in 10 years? What are your thoughts on it?
absolutely. I think
Yeah.
this movie 100% will matter in 10 years. I think it's going to go down as a horror movie classic. I think just from this is a year that movies really kind of came back, like box office movies. I mean, I think we read when this came out in Backrooms made just as much money as Barbie and Oppenheimer when those two movies were out there, and those movies were made for a fraction of the budget. I think this changes the way directors get into the game. I really think this is a game-changing movie.
I mean, totally. What's the line in the sand for like new horror movies and old horror movies? Like, because there's like a slasher horror movie time, and then there's like movies like this, Weapons,
Yeah,
things like that. Like, what's the line where this one fits into?
I mean, that's a good question. It's not, I don't know exactly how to like answer that. It's not obviously like the 80s, 90s movies like that. This is more, it's not that psychological thriller. It's unique, man. It's its own concept.
But they all seem to, I don't know, just newer movies seem to be a little bit more like this than to be like slashery, where there's, I say
Yeah.
this is paranormal, but it's just like it just seems like this is one of the classic like newer age type horror movies,
Yep.
which I think is great.
Yeah.
So
I think it's, horror movies. This and Backrooms, the two, bigger movies of the year. And Backrooms, another horror movie, which I'll be watching hopefully in the next week or so. But
is that out on streaming to buy
it
or?
just came out to rent on TV. And that was made by a 21-year-old YouTube director. So,
I will say that I bought this movie. I did not. I could have watched it on Peacock, but I decided
yep.
to pay $20 for it out of trying to support the director. And so, anyways, it's out on streaming now. I think you can watch it on Peacock. Well, not for free, but if you have the subscription, then you can
Yep.
buy it on whatever iTunes or Amazon for I think $20.
Yeah. It's worth the hype, man. It's worth the hype. So I'm glad we got a chance to talk about it.
Dude, we got 45 minutes out of this movie and we freaking crushed. Loved it. So glad we did it. And then we got another big one next week. Are you ready for Odyssey next week?
Going tonight. I'm going in 3 hours.
You're going tonight? God damn.
Going
Just so
tonight.
you know that today is Monday and I'm probably not going to post this till Friday, to be honest with you. So it's going to
Okay.
sit for
Yeah. So I will have already.
but,
Yeah.
but you will have already seen it. I'm going to see it on Wednesday, so I will have already seen it. Dude, I've heard a lot of good things. That's all I'll say. It's going
I
to
mean, people talk about live up to the hype. People are freaking out about this movie, saying it's already going to win Best Picture and Damon's like going to win Best Actor. And it's just,
I mean, I've heard like best movie I've ever seen in my life type stuff.
yeah, I know. I'm excited. I'm happy to get out of my system now with Obsession. So now I feel like really focus on the Odyssey tonight.
Love it. All right. Well, enjoy, bud. We'll do this again next week.
All right, buddy. Thanks.
All right. See ya.